Hi, let me show you how you can calculate strong sectors amongst the popular sectors in India's stock market. And this is a concept called relative rotational graphs. This will help you identify relatively strong sectors and relatively stronger stocks within the sector. To do this, I have started off with the popular indices in Indian stock market. This includes Nifty 50, Nifty Next 50 among others. And it also includes some sectoral indices like Nifty Bank, Nifty Auto, Nifty Financial Service, etc. You can also include your portfolios and base it relative to Nifty 50 or any other benchmark that you want. So on your screen, you see the popular indices. I've grabbed the data from NSE website. Once I have this data, the way to calculate this is I have this calculation sheet wherein for each of the stocks within that particular sector, I calculate a bunch of technicals. In here, as you might see, I have calculated got the data from Google Finance. Post that, I have calculated the popular EMAs. In here, I have EMA 9, 21, 63, 126 and 200. I've also calculated the 14-day moving RSI. Post that, I have calculated the normalized returns for a time period that you can customize. The time periods I've chosen is 20, 10, 5 and 50 days. Using this normalized returns, you can calculate the relative strength of a particular sectoral index against Nifty 50 or of a particular stock against its benchmark index. For example, in here, I'm calculating the relative strength of Aavas Finance with respect to Nifty 50 as the benchmark. So I have the relative strength and the momentum for this particular stock against Nifty 50. Post that, I also do some calculations for weekly returns. I have the sparkline chart for how the stock has performed in the last 2 years. And I've made some calculations for where the stock is currently with respect to EMA 21, 63 and 200. Using all this data, before going to the data, let me show you how this shows up as an RRG chart. So now if I come in here, I can see how the stocks within Nifty 50 are. For example, in here, you can see that HR Motors, Hind Oil, FSL, Bajaj Finance are all the strong stocks in this particular comparison that I've done. Post that, what I can do is I can also check which stocks are improving. Here are the improving stocks. Here are the stocks that are lagging, and here are the stocks that are weakening. And you can see how they've performed over the last few days. So in here, if I just look at the leading stocks, and here the leading stocks, you see all of them have started off at the same base, which is 100, and you can see how they've performed over the course of time period that I've selected. In this case, I've selected 50 days. I can also see how the lagging stocks are, and you would notice how they are lagging the leading stocks once the chart loads. So if you see in here, all of them started at 100, but none of them at present are giving more than 100. Whereas if you look at the leading, they would all have given better returns. This is the normalized returns. You can also choose the relative strength. And as you might guess, the leading stocks would have a relatively higher relative strength as compared to lagging stocks. There you see. And post that, you can come and look at the technicals for all these stocks. In here, I have calculated a bunch of technical details in here. Let's start with a particular stock. Here I have Aavas. Aavas is currently priced at 1,700 rupees. It has changed by 0.26%, and here's the volume and volume average with high 52 and low 52. The relative strength of Aavas with respect to Nifty 50 for the last 20 days is 105. Its momentum is 99.2, which is why it is in the weakening quadrant. Its 20-day relative strength average is 103.74 and momentum average is 99.93. Using this, I categorize them into a quadrant called weakening quadrant. Its current RSI, you may go and check this in TradingView as well, it's 60.33. Post that, I also have a bunch of indicators. Using the EMAs, I can calculate where the EMA is with respect to the current market price. In this case, Aavas Finance's last trading price is greater than EMA 21. EMA 21 is less than EMA 63. EMA 63 is greater than EMA 200. Just the EMA trend is in here. And I also have this indicator in here which tells me when the stocks turn bullish. Like for example, in this particular case, Alembic, if you look at Alembic, its last trading price went above EMA 21 in yesterday's market, and therefore it has turned bullish. Previously, it wasn't bullish. Now, because LTP crossed over EMA 21, it has now turned bullish. And I also have the weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly return for all the stocks. You can do this for all your stocks in here. Like for example, if you want to do it for Nifty 50 alone, you can choose Nifty 50. All the data would load by itself. Just give it a couple of seconds or minutes depending on your internet speed. The data should come up and you should be able to look at how Nifty 50 stocks are trending with respect to Nifty 50. Let me just give a second for this thing to load entirely. The data is coming. As you see, I'm not doing anything. All this data is now populated. So you've got these technicals for a bunch of these stocks. Now you can go and visualize it. Let me just give it 1 second for it to refresh. This actually is the Nifty 50 stocks. This has actually refreshed. Then you can see the matrices. You can see the lagging stocks in Nifty 50. You can see the leading stocks in Nifty 50. You can see the normalized returns. You can just choose it. Now let me just go and for better understanding, do it for something else, which might give you a better picture. Let me just choose Nifty Pharma, for example, which has been doing pretty well in this current market. There you go. All the stocks are loading in here. The technicals are starting to come in. Let me just scroll here. Let me just do some operations in here so that you can see it better. So right now I've just got today's data. You can see a bunch of Nifty Pharma stocks are all bullish. They're all in the leading quadrant. You can see the RRG charts. These are the stocks that are relatively stronger within the pharma sector. You can see Lupin, Ipca Labs, Granules, Glenmark, Torrent Pharma, JB Chemical Pharma, Jubilant Chemical Pharma are all leading. You can see Laurus Labs and Biocon, Zydus Life in the improving quadrant. They've been doing good. Natco, Abbott, Cipla have all been lagging. Arrow Pharma and Sun Pharma are all weakening. You can see how they've performed in here, and you can see the technicals in here. And now if you just want to confirm this, you can compare all the sectoral and key indices in the Indian market in here. And you can see how they're performing relative to each other with respect to Nifty 50. Let me just give it a second for it to load. And you can see the same explanation again. The data is starting to come in. Now you have the RRG charts. You can see Nifty FMCG is leading. Nifty Consumption is also leading. You can see Nifty Auto, Nifty CPSE, Nifty Next 50 are all improving. You can see a bunch of categories in the weakening sector, and you can see a bunch of stocks in the lagging sector. Let me just find out where Nifty Pharma is in this. Nifty Pharma is actually weakening. and it's somewhere in here, and that's why you don't see it exactly on the graph. But here, this gives you a list where you can check that Nifty Pharma is actually weakening. So yeah, thank you for having a look at this. If you'd like to recreate the sheet, give me a shout out. I'm happy to kind of help you recreate this same sheet. Thank you, Harish.